Today we're going to talk about hybrid picking. I'm going to give you some examples to take away. Stick around. Hello everyone, it's James from Practice Like a Pro, providing you with simple, clear guitar tips to help you on your guitar playing journey. So today I want to talk about hybrid picking. It's a really common question that I get asked from players. I break down a couple of examples. It's a really common technique and you'll get a lot of mileage out of it. Let's have a look. So the top and bottom of it is we're going to use his thumb and his index finger to hold the plectrum, and then we're going to use his middle and his ring finger to pick extra strings below wherever the pick's playing. The first example we're going to look at is a 3-note lick with a hammer on that I've taken from the E minor pentatonic. So we're going to start with an open D string. Then with my fretting hand, I'm going to hammer on to the 2nd fret of the D. And all that's done with the pick. The first stroke's taken with the pick, and then obviously with the hammer on we don't need to pick anything again. Now we need to pick the open G next, so I'm going to use my middle finger and I'm going to sort of claw upwards. And as you can see from the tab, this just repeats over and over and over again. Now, when you get a little bit more confident with this, you can sort of get a little bit more speed and it sounds really cool. So I get like almost like a Brad Paisley kind of vibe out of it. What I'll do in E minor pentatonic is I'll use a lot of, especially in the open position, I'll use a lot of hybrid picking to get from one part of the scale to the other. And these licks, you can really play for a couple of bars and get some mileage out of it in your improvisation. You know, you could do something along those lines. Obviously, I'm just lifting it off the top of my head. To expand upon that first exercise, we're going to take exactly the same notes, but instead of playing it in open position, we're going to take it up into the key of A minor. So we're going to use the A minor pentatonic. So I'm going to play the 5th fret of the D string. And then, just as before, I'm going to hammer on 2 frets higher to that 7th fret. Then I need to play the 5th fret underneath it, and with my picking hand, I'm going to use my middle finger to catch that note. Little tip for you there. I tend to bar both those 5th frets at the same time, so I've only got to worry about the hammering note. Let's head back down to E minor pentatonic, because I've got a bit more of a bluesy kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan lick that I tend to use hybrid picking with. So what we're going to do, we're going to bend the 2nd fret of the G, and that's a full step bend, so we're aiming for that note up there, and I'm picking that with my plectrum. Then I'm going to play the open B and the open high E with my middle finger and my ring finger. Can you hear how the notes are bleeding into one another? The next note of the lick's an open B string. Now you'd be forgiven for thinking that I'd want you to use your middle finger for that again, but actually we're going to pick it with this plectrum because the lick travels down, sort of up the scale or down towards your feet. I tend to have the pick following in tow wherever I go. So I'm going to pick I've got the 2 with my pick, then I've got the B and the high E, then I'm going to pick that B with a downstroke with my pick. Then you've got a bend on the 3rd fret, which I'm going to play with the pick again. Pick, middle finger, ring finger, pick, and then that last note I'm going to use my middle finger. You hear it in a lot of sort of Chuck Berry and rock and rolly kind of stuff. You get this sort of, or something like Johnny B. Good, you've got them. I always hybrid pick those because I don't have to move my hand. I sort of have my hand resting just at the back of the bridge here. And it's really, really comfortable. I don't have to move around at all, and this is why I love hybrid picking. The last lick that we're going to look at is what's called a banjo roll. Now you hear this all the time in sort of country music. You've got the... That's the lick that we're going to look at. I will slow it down. But all that kind of stuff is hybrid picked, because can you imagine trying to do it'd be economy picking in that case. You've got 2 downs and an up. You just won't get the speed and the snappiness of it. Let's have a look. So we're going to slide into the 4. The tab tells you to slide into the 4th fret of the G. Now, rather than sliding all the way from here, unless you're told otherwise, a little sort of bonus tip for you. If you're to slide into a note and it doesn't tell you where to slide from, 9 times out of 10 it's the fret below. So we're going to slide in from the 3, and that's done with the pick. Then with his middle finger and his ring finger on his picking hand, you're going to pick the B and the high E. 4, B, E. We're going to repeat that 4 times, nice and steady. Moving on, bearing in mind the picking pattern stays exactly the same. We're going to walk down the frets, down to the 1st fret. So after you finish that last 4 at the end of the 1st bar, you're going to move that finger down to the 3rd fret. Bit of dissonance. You're going to go down again to 2. Down again to 1. And then to come back on yourself, we're going to go to the 2. And then you are starting on the 3 to sort of come back and make it go full circle. However, you are sliding. You are going back to the 3 as a kind of step up, but remember that we're sliding from the 3 into the 4. I'll play the lick slowly for you. Again, like the first lick that we looked at, when you start to speed it up, it starts to sound really impressive and almost a bit Dukes of Hazzard almost. You know, a great record to listen to, something like Jerry's Breakdown, is a great example of that sort of hybrid picking kind of stuff. So where do you go from here? I check out some country guitar players. You know, it's not just Brad Paisley and, you know, the sort of really stereotypical kind of going as fast as your fingers will take you on a Telecaster. You hear a lot of people talk about what they call pedal steel licks, where they'll play licks on the guitar that sounds like a lap steel. You get this kind of... You get that kind of thing going on. All that's hybrid picking, and you get that sort of snappy quality to it. So I'd listen to some Eagles, some Brad Paisley, and try and sort of put it into your own improvisation. You know, try and find some licks around the scales that you're using, and try and come up with these little almost like motifs that you can kind of put away for and sort of save for a rainy day. I hope you got something out of today's lesson. If you did, please let us know in the comments. If you enjoy his content, please do consider subscribing. We upload 3 lessons a week. And if you want to learn something else from us, we've got some other videos that you can check out here. Thank you very much for watching. Keep practicing like a pro. Cheers.